Hey guys, welcome back to another video, another match preview. This one is super exciting. Chelsea versus Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. Always love a Champions League game. And I'm joined by Atletico fan Kendall, and we were just chatting about how it's so hard to find people who are fans on YouTube, really. So it was like she has so many streams, so I'm really honored that she is making the time to join my stream. So Kendall, thanks so much for joining me.
No, thank you for having me. Genuinely love it. As we've literally just been speaking, I just love meeting new people, so it's amazing. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. So let's get right into it. Like I want to know, I'm so bad because I don't watch La Liga. It's like very expensive to watch in Madrid. So I don't pay for the channel. So how have Atletico been playing in the league? I saw they have, I think, 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss in their last 5 games. But do you get like a good vibe from them, or do you think that they kind of haven't been playing as well as they were earlier in the season?
Yeah, the form has dropped off a lot because obviously we had a lot of major injuries. So there was like Trippier, well, he wasn't injured, he obviously got banned for betting. Then there was Carrasco was out for a while. A lot of people had COVID at the beginning of February. So when the first leg happened, like Felix was just coming back from COVID, a couple of others. Jimenez, who's probably one of, if not the best centre back that we've got, he was out, so the form has dipped a lot lately. But obviously now the squad is at full fitness. There is no injuries or anything going into this game from since the weekend. So hopefully the form can pick up again, because I mean at one point they were 12 points clear at the top of the league, and now it's only 4. So you know, it has dipped a lot. There has been some tough games in there, but fingers crossed now everybody's back, it can start picking up again.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think it's something that we've seen across the board in the Premier League as well, that there's a lot of teams that are struggling with injuries just because the fixtures are so condensed, and there are players that got sick as well. So it's something that I think all teams are facing. Chelsea luckily haven't been like hit too badly with that. But so you mentioned the players that are coming back. You guys didn't have a lot of your first team players in the first leg. So how massive do you think that is? And out of all of those players that you mentioned, who do you think is going to be the most important one, the one who's going to make the most difference in this game?
So definitely Carrasco for me, because a lot of the creativity comes from him, especially going forward. If we don't have the likes of Felix playing alongside Suarez, so he was a huge miss, because for me, if not Llorente, he would be my player of the season, because he has come back to Atleti and he's set it on fire again. So he was a huge miss for me. So definitely, because obviously Simeone has come out and said that he's got one mindset, and it's to win this game. So I know that he is taking it very seriously. So for me, that's really important to have him, Carrasco, in the squad, because as I say, he is very creative and he does provide a lot of the direct balls for Suarez. Otherwise, we were a bit lacking defensively in the first leg, because obviously, as I said, Trippier was out. Renan Lodi had just, I don't know if he was still suffering from coronavirus or had just come back at that point. Jimenez had got injured literally 3 days before the tie. So having him back and having Trippier back, because Trippier dictates a lot of the play from the back line, especially him and Llorente on that right hand side are brilliant together. So having them two specifically back will just be amazing, and it'll definitely, I think, change the dynamics a lot, because as you say, in the first leg our team was it was just so lackluster because there was so many injuries and issues at that point. So I'm a lot more confident going into this game. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily confident in terms of like we're going to smash this game, we're going to win, but definitely more comfortable in the sense that we've got everybody back and everybody fit. So fingers crossed it'll be better this time.
That makes me nervous, honestly, because I felt that Atletico were really difficult to face in the first leg, and you had so many players out. And I think that they actually only limited Chelsea to like an expected goal of 0.6 or something like that. And so just like the sheer brilliance of Giroud, which you're not going to get in every game, the main differentiator. And I think Chelsea had like maybe 5 shots on target, so it could perfectly come back to bite us in the butt that we didn't score more goals while you had like some of the main players in the defense out. So we know that Atletico is typically known for like the amazing defensive work that they do. But how do you think that they're going to approach this game, given that they are a goal down? They definitely need to score.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's definitely going to be different because, as I say, I knew last time, just with the terms of managers, that obviously Tuchel, however you want to say his name, because I don't think anyone still knows at this point. I hear Tuchel, I hear
I say Tuchel.
Yeah. How he sets up in Simeone, they're both very tactically minded, and they both have, a system in mind that they like to play, and they stick to that system. So I knew it was going to either, be a one goal. I knew it wasn't going to be a goal fest at that point, especially obviously as we had a lot of players missing. I know you guys obviously had Thiago Silva missing, and I'm assuming he probably won't play this game either. Right. So yeah, I think again it'll be just it won't be a goal fest again, if you will. I think it's so important, as Simeone has said, that he is going out to win this game. So I'm assuming we'll be more on the attacking front foot this time. I'm hoping so anyway. He said that he will have Suarez and Felix playing. So I'm assuming they're going to start. So that's another great option, obviously, attacking wise, and fingers crossed that is where it is, because I think we do need to pressure Chelsea at this point. Obviously, we are 1 goal down. It's an away goal as well. So I know obviously they were away at this time. So hopefully we don't concede another one, because that's just going to, I know it sounds obvious, but it's going to make it so much more difficult to even go out and win the game at all. Obviously, yes, it's going to be 2-0 at that point, but even so, if we score and it's still only 1-1, it's an equal game then. So, you know what I mean? So obviously if we concede first, it's not going to be good. And unfortunately in the league lately, that's what they have been doing. They've been conceding first a lot. And that is where I'm worried at this point, because as I say, if we concede first, then I think probably the tie is over at that point.
Yeah, I think from Chelsea's perspective, it might something that I'm nervous about is Chelsea's ability to score goals, because we've seen in the league that Chelsea really have not had their shooting boots on. They haven't been clinical in front of goal, and we don't really know where the goals are going to come from. I said this a few weeks ago that I was nervous about it because Chelsea were winning games, but we were winning a lot of penalties, and that's how we were scoring and getting that advantage. But other than that, we don't really see all that many goals being scored. And we saw against Leeds, who are one of the most open sides in the league, that they have the 4th most highest conceded goals, and Chelsea couldn't score against them. So it does make me nervous, but I do think that since Atletico need a goal, perhaps the game will be a little bit more open than it was in the first leg, and hopefully somebody will be clinical and score. I don't know. But guys, I also want to remind you, if you have any questions that you want us to answer, please feel free to send them. It's really great to have Kendall and like all of her knowledge about Atletico, because I don't have like that much at all. So it's really, really great to learn from and learn more about the fixture. So I was looking at like some of the stats from the previous game, and Atletico didn't have any shots on target. Why do you think that was? Do you think it's the lack of having those creative players on the pitch? Because I thought surely that even without Carrasco, like Suarez or Felix was going to create something.
Yeah, I think that was part of it, but just the way that we set up and ended up playing, because it was practically 6 at the back, for pretty much most of the game. So I think just the way that we set up, I knew prior to the game that just with the players that we had missing, it was going to be a case of inviting you to attack, which I knew that, and kind of revert to, the old Atleti in the sense of defensive, park the bus football, if you will. And I knew that was going to happen. So I thought that if anything, if we were going to score, it would be on the counter. It wouldn't be a case of we were attacking, we were pressuring you guys at the back at all. Although despite that, I did think that Christensen and Alonso had a really, really good game each. I thought they were really brilliant in the first leg, despite us not really having much, like shots on target or anything like that. So I do think it was a a little bit of a mixture of both things, but I was really annoyed at the way the first leg went, because even though I knew it was going to go that way, you always have that little bit of hope that,
Yeah,
you
of
know, they set
course.
up differently, yeah, and the attack, and it just wasn't like that, and I was really annoyed that, to be fair, only being 1-0 was actually pretty good, because I just thought the way that we'd set up, it was just really ridiculous. As I say, 6 in the box at, you know, defending at any one time. So fingers crossed it's different this time. And, you know, we have, as I said, there is really no excuse, because all of the players are back this time. Injuries aren't an excuse. Players missing aren't an excuse this time. So if he sets up defensively again, I'm just going to be way more annoyed than the first time, because there is no excuse this time, really.
It really is make it or break it. Like, you might as well go all guns blazing, because you need to score. So are you nervous at all about that Chelsea defense? Because I think they've only conceded 2 goals since Tuchel has come in like 12 games or something like that. Like, I'm just pulling these numbers off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it's only conceding 2 goals. One was a Rudiger own goal, and Chelsea aren't historically known for having a good defense.
No.
It's something that us as fans, we were like shocked by, that we were just conceding so many goals, and a clean sheet was hard to come by, and now it's kind of like the opposite problem for us. So are you nervous about coming up against that defense, or you think that you guys can basically break through?
No, I'm definitely nervous, because I think even under obviously the new manager, that you're even more cohesive as a defense now, as like a defensive system. It's a lot more rigid. As you say, you know, they're doing really well with not conceding any goals. So I am concerned, because even despite the fact we have, you know, attacking players that can score goals, we haven't been scoring that many really in terms of in the league. So I am worried about it. And as I say, in the first leg, they shocked me, even, because even like there was Chelsea fans even saying, you know, Christensen, I don't want him to play. I can't believe he's going to have to play. And now, like, he's become probably one of the most improved players in the last few weeks. So I am definitely worried about that. If we do attack, I think it'll even still be very hard to, you know, break your defense down. So definitely worrying in that respect, definitely.
Yeah, something that is bad for us is that we're going to be without 2 players in Jorginho and Mason Mount. I
Yeah.
think Mason is like the biggest loss. I was so upset about it, because he got a yellow card for something that I don't even think it was like his push. I think it was Aspilicueta. So I thought that like that was ridiculous, but that's besides the point. I've already ranted about that a lot. But Mason Mount is so important for Chelsea, and I was looking at the stats, and just the amount, like the amount that he counter presses, and that he tries to, that the energy that he brings, and the amount that he tries to bring the ball back, how he progresses the ball, the touches that he takes, is so important to this Chelsea side, and he played a massive role in that first leg. So it's going to be interesting how Chelsea are able to cope without the likes of Mason Mount. Jorginho as well is known for controlling the pace of it.
Yeah.
But with Kovacic and Conte, I don't think it's like as big of a loss. But Mason Mount, I'm like very, very sad about that he's not playing in this game.
Because he's probably been your best player this season as well, I would say. You know, that's probably arguable to anybody, but I do definitely think he's probably been, if not the best player that you guys have had this season. So I do think he will be a big loss, especially because he does score goals as well. So if you're already struggling for the goals, then you know you need someone like him. But yeah, I mean, it's good for us, but not great for you guys in a sense. Yeah.
So I still have a couple of questions, but I do want to get to some viewer questions as well. So Blessing, I'll ask, what is the best formation for Atletico to tackle Chelsea's midfield?
I think it's honestly, I have no idea how he's going to set up this time, because they have kind of been playing 4-1-4-1 lately with everybody back, but I don't think they're going to, if they're going to go into an attacking mindset, they're not going to leave Suarez up there on his own. It's not going to be 4-1-4-1. Personally, I feel like it will probably, I would like to see 4-4-2. I know that's very like classic, you know, common formation, if you will, in football, but for me that's probably where we're going to be best, with Llorente and Carrasco on both wings, because they are where the creativity comes in, and having a 4-4-2 allows Suarez and Felix to play alongside each other, which I like and I prefer. So yeah, I think that probably, if we set up like that as a 4 in midfield, I think that's probably where it's going to be best.
Yeah, it's interesting as well to see if they're going to like proactive. We know that Chelsea are probably going to play in a 3-4-2-1
Yeah.
or 3-4-1-2 formation. So it'll be interesting to see if Simeone decides to match that formation again, because I think in the first leg they did play like a 3-4-3
Yeah.
type formation, or to go for with a 4-4-2 like you said. And with Tuchel, we just have no idea, honestly, like he hasn't had the same starting 11 since he became Chelsea manager, which is just insane. So we
Yeah.
have no idea who is going to be playing on the pitch. I'm just going through all of the comments. I want to make sure to get to all of the ones that ask you about Atletico specifically. Pride of London asks, does Atletico prefer pressing or box-to-box football?
I think it depends, because obviously, as everybody knows, Atleti is known for defensive packed bus football, but this season the attacking output has been really similar to the defensive output, if not slightly more. So right now, with all of the injuries, it has reverted slightly to, sit a little bit sitting more deep. But at the beginning of the season, when we made all of the signings, and Suarez came in, and we set up a solid system, it was a lot more attacking. But with that defensive backline, that was pretty solid for most of the start of the season. Because as Trippier, he played, every match until he's banned. So, yeah, probably is. It's changed a little bit now, but hopefully now everybody's back, it will be more attacking. But the system's very solid, and I think that's what Simeone is known for. A very solid, tactically sound system.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see the two tacticians go up against each other.
It is.
They are both absolute masters of tactics, and that's something that I really like about Tuchel, is that I think like if he sees that something isn't working, he's not afraid to make a change at halftime and say, "Oh, you've been playing crap. I'm going to take you off," or like double subbing Callum or whatever it is. If a player isn't playing how he wants them to, he'll be telling them, he'll be shouting at them, and I think we see. I was at a game at the Wanda, like literally the game before everything shut down, like that weekend. I was at the Wanda, and it was so funny to see Simeone like on the touchline, like super animated, super funny.
Yeah, he's such a character. I do like that about him. I do like it, but obviously some people don't like that, like a Jose or a Simeone. They don't like that kind of character at the side of the pitch, but I do. I enjoy it. I think it brings something else to the game. Yeah, I like it.
It's so funny. You see him like walking like outside. He's outside of his technical area, and then he has to like march back on it. It's just brilliant. So we have another question from Safas. He says, "Who's the most underrated current player at Atletico Madrid?"
Oh, underrated. See, for me, it would be Trippier. I mean, I know people are probably going to argue he's not underrated, but I feel like outside of La Liga and probably outside of Atletico, sorry, 1 second, be quiet, please. Just my little girl. Outside of La Liga, I mean, I don't think Premier League fans really thought he was that special, if I'm honest. And I don't think anyone, when he left Tottenham, I don't think anyone was like, oh, that's really sad that he's left. But now he's been so... as I say, he played every single game of the season before his ban. He dictates a lot of the play from our back line. Obviously, I mentioned earlier that him and Llorente, the partnership that they have on that right-hand side is really, really good. So for me, he definitely, him coming back has changed the dynamic once again. Because obviously we've fit back into a back four. So yeah, definitely Trippier for me, I think.
Yeah, I think I haven't seen him like all of that much, but the couple of games I have seen, I just like all of the Atletico fans are saying, "Oh, it's like a real miss that he didn't play in that game." So he's definitely somebody that I'm going to keep my eye on in this game as well. So flipping that question, who do you think is your most important player? And perhaps it's somebody that is more, I don't want to say well known because that's not the right words, but somebody who gets more praise or attention.
Probably Llorente, because he has been so amazing for us this season. He's had like several Player of the Month awards. Like his creativity in that midfield has been so important to changing the whole dynamic of the Atleti system, because they are so well known for being defensive. So for me, he's just he's come in and changed him and Suarez together. The balls that Llorente lays off for Suarez, the skills and the technical ability that he has driving the ball forward is just amazing. I know a lot of teams are taking notice of him. He's been around a while, even though he's still pretty young, and he's been at Real Madrid and things like that. So everybody knows who he is, but I don't think they actually probably realise just how good he really, really is. And he's definitely so vital to that team now and the way that they play now.
Oh man, you got me nervous. You got me nervous about facing these players because I'm always really nervous ahead of Chelsea games where it's just a really, really massive game. So I actually got asked a question, so I'll just answer it quickly. Ravi says, Ellie, where are the goals coming from, and can we keep Atletico quiet for most of the game? I don't know where the goals are going to come from. I really don't. Like, I am nervous. I don't know who's going to be starting this game. I think since it's more open, I don't know if we're going to see Giroud, because I think that he started the last game because Tuchel was expecting Atletico to sit a little bit deeper and to defend and for Chelsea to have more of the ball. So Giroud makes a really great target man for those situations. But now we know that, like you said, Kendall, they're probably not going to defend as deep. They need a goal, so they need to come off on the front foot and attack. So is Giroud the best player to play in a game like that, where you're kind of chasing the ball, need to try to win it back? Maybe you need to use speed. I don't know. I don't think so. So I imagine, and this is kind of me going into like a bit of a like a formation, but I imagine we're probably going to see Timo Werner for his pace. And since Mason Mount isn't playing, I think we're going to see Timo and Kai up front, and then maybe Callum in as a 10 or Kai in as like a false 9, 10-ish, and Callum playing off of the left with Timo, because all of those players are very pacey and can take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So those are 3 players that I think could potentially score. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else, but really, no, you don't really have any none of the defenders are scoring. The only defenders that were scoring were Zuma and Thiago Silva. Neither of them are going to be playing, most likely. I don't think Zuma is going to play. The midfielders don't score. Maybe Reece James, but he doesn't really score either. So it really is a little bit nerve-wracking for Chelsea fans, because Atletico have an incredible defense. They have an incredible goalkeeper in Oblak, and we are not fine. We're not scoring that many goals. So, and can we keep Atletico quiet? I'm a little bit nervous. I think that the defense has been very good, that we've played against a lot of teams, that we've been able to contain them. But I do think, like, what makes me nervous as well is seeing like how Atletico played against Liverpool last season in the Champions League, and they just totally knocked them out, and we know how incredible Liverpool were. So just like the tactical masterclass, like it really is going to be difficult. I think it's going to be difficult not to concede. I think we're probably going to concede at least 1 goal. What do you think, Kendall?
Yeah, I think, everyone was asking me score predictions, and I said 2-1 Atletico, because I feel like if you guys play as well as you did in the first leg, I know obviously everyone's going to say it was a Giroud masterclass. Like it was just that wonder goal that is not going to happen every single game. But I do, despite that, think that you kept us quiet. Obviously, the stats, as you mentioned earlier, tell a story as well. So if you play as well in the first leg, I do think you'll score. But we're going to be on the front foot, and I know that. And obviously, Simeone has said that. So that's where I'm hoping the goals are going to come from. So that was my prediction from the start. So yeah, I think you're definitely right in terms of, defensively, you've been very good in the league, really, really good. And a lot of the players have stepped up and improved hugely under the new manager. So, yeah, I am still very worried going into it. The only hope that I have, obviously, is that I know that it is going to be more on the front foot, and the players are back to allow for that sort of system. So, yeah, still worrying. I don't like to get too carried away about things ever.
I'm glad you're like that, because like I get super nervous as well, and then there's some people that just like throw down and like, oh, we're definitely gonna win, and I get flipped up like so hard, and I just like very like no I don't know. I hope we win, so I think that's really funny how we're similar in that sense. Glenn Kitely says, hey, what's up? If this was the Grammys, this would win the best collaboration awards. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. It's so funny. Ravi asked, who's on the back of your shirt, if anybody?
There's nobody on the back of this shirt actually, but on every other Atleti shirt I have a Felix one, and on the rest is Torres, because Fernando Torres was it still is. I mean, I know he doesn't play anymore, but is literally my favourite player of all time, which is why I started following Atleti in the first place, because I saw him play when I was 9 years old and literally loved him to death. So that's why I even follow Atleti at all. So yeah, I don't, if I get the current shirts, I normally leave them pretty plain. But as I say, I have got a Felix one because I normally get my number, and Koke didn't used to be my favourite player, and he's number 6, which is my birthday. So yeah, so there, no one's on the back of this shirt.
I'm trying to think who would be. My birthday is August 9th, so 9, I guess, is Tammy.
Yeah.
I have a Pulisic one, and he hasn't been playing, so
yeah, exactly.
Unfortunate.
Number 6 is never like anybody good for me because it's normally a defender. I mean, it's Lascelles for Newcastle. I'm not going to get Lascelles in the back of my shirt, so yeah. So it's never number 6 is never really anybody good.
Who's it? Who's Chelsea's number 6? I think it's Thiago Silva, but that's just off the top of my head. If anybody knows in the comments, let us know. Yeah, next year, if I like the jersey, I'm going to get Azpilicueta because he's like the player that I just adore him so much.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that about me, and my husband even looks like Azpilicueta. It's like very weird. They're both Spanish. Like people, he'll come in and people will be like, "Oh my god,
manifestation!" Manifestation.
So funny. So Daniel asked you. I actually had this question, but I'll put it out for Daniel to ask as well. Who are you most afraid of in the Chelsea team?
Well, prior to the first leg, I said it was Giroud. Like literally before the game, I said if, because for some reason in La Liga you don't come up against strikers like him a lot, who are very physical, and it's normally you come up against like technical strikers who are goal poachers in La Liga, obviously like Benzema, things like that. I mean, Messi's just another breed, but I was really concerned about him, and it proved me right because I knew that it was just something that we defensively weren't equipped hugely to handle someone like that. So if he plays again, it will definitely be him. On the flip side of that, this is probably going to shock a lot of people, but probably Werner, just because he's so pacey, and our back line isn't necessarily, probably can't really catch him in that respect. So yeah, he probably just for his pace would be something that I'll be quite interested to see how we cope with that.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think that Timo Werner has like all these assets to be such an incredible player, and we've seen that he can score goals. He's so clinical, and you don't score over 30 goals in the Bundesliga just for fun. You don't. You have to be a really good player, but I feel like he's lost a lot of confidence, and he's overthinking things that he wouldn't normally overthink.
Yeah.
Slot into the back of the net, like taking an extra touch or just shooting it right at the keeper or putting
it. He's just so frightened to fail, I guess. Like he's just taking that extra, just hoping that he doesn't fail, and it's ended up being the wrong decision. Yeah, I get you 100%.
So it's really frustrating because I think that he could have scored, like there's a handful of goals that is like so close to him scoring, and he just kind of like fluffed it. And I think that he could be like a completely lethal player, but right now he's just like so low on confidence. Like if he scores against Atletico, I think that it would do him loads of confidence as well. But he just needs to like start scoring. He has been unlucky, like the goal against Liverpool got disallowed, and I thought that was like silly. And he's hit the woodwork like 5 times or something ridiculous like that. So he has been scoring, but just not enough to like build some momentum. So I think that normally I would be worried about somebody like Timo Werner, but just because he's not in great form, I'm worried as a Chelsea fan that he's not going to score. You know what I mean? So kind of going hand in hand with that, Robbie asked you, can Atletico keep Chelsea's key players quiet?
I think if they play the solid system tactically, I think yes, because despite the first leg, and I really did think Chelsea played well, and we played like not great at all until midway through the second half. I don't think we got going at all, but it was only 1-0 even on our bad day, so that gives me a little bit of hope that maybe with everybody back, that it can be something more and we can bring a little bit more magic to the game. Because I mean, it was a horrible game for me to watch. I mean, I don't know about you guys, obviously you won, but just in terms of the game in general, I mean, it wasn't the most exciting, you know, riveting game to watch. So hopefully it'll be different this time. And both teams, again, as we've said, are so tactically minded with their managers that it probably isn't going to be, you know, overwhelmingly excited and loads of different things going on. But I hope that it's better than the first leg. Well, for us anyway.
I hope not. I hope
Yeah,
not. But yeah, I like I said, like I think that Chelsea fans would have taken a 0-0 draw like against Atletico. I think that would have been a really good result. But I'm nervous because I felt like you guys didn't really create much, and we never looked too troubled. But I don't want like the Chelsea players to get complacent now and concede, you know. And like I said, Chelsea had quite a few shots on target, and I think that we could have scored like at least 2 goals. So it might come back to haunt us that we didn't get like that second away goal. We have an interesting question from Blessing out. He says, Costa, Alvaro Morata, or Lino? You already said that Torres is your favorite. So let's take him out of it. Who do you prefer between Costa and Alvaro Morata? Both play for Atletico and both play for Chelsea. And Torres as well.
Torres as well. Yeah, for some reason, Chelsea and Atleti have some sort of weird like connection. There's been so many players who play for both teams. It's so wild. For me, Costa, just because I don't rate Morata, never have done. I think he's even worse now. So yeah, just Costa for me. Costa on his day, even, you know, despite people don't like him and people don't like the attitude that he has, and that's fair enough, because I mean, in a team that's fighting for something, he's not someone you want, because as we saw just with him leaving in January, well, prior to January, he wants to be the main guy, wants to be, you know, the star guy in your team. So I mean, that aspect of him isn't great, but in terms of a striker, he's just everything you need in a striker, really. And he's probably not up there, you know, with the top best strikers ever, but I do think he's a very good, very, very good striker in his day. And yeah, Costa for me over Morata every single day of the week.
I think for us too, and I think the majority of Chelsea fans really miss Diego Costa. I actually like floated out the idea. I think he's leaving on a free at the end of the season, right? Or at least I've read that.
He's left now. He's left. They terminated his contract early, and we got Dembele on loan till the end of the season.
Oh my God, I totally missed this.
Yeah, so they terminated his contract. He hasn't got a club at the moment, so yeah, he's a free agent. So never know, might be doing a return.
That's insane. That's it. I was joking, like, if we can get Diego Costa on the free, like, why not have him as a backup striker?
Yeah, he's left now because Wolves were going to sign him, or they were interested in him, and I think his wages are really going to be the sticking point for a lot of clubs, because even though he isn't a free, his wages are so high, and I highly doubt he's the type of person who's going to take a massive wage cut, unless he just wants to get back to playing. But yeah, I think his wage is going to be the sticking point for a lot of people. But he is currently floating around on a free, as far as I'm aware. So
I wonder why they terminated his contract. I really like just how much of like I remember we played against Atletico, I think very early, like 2014 or 2015 or something like that. And I hated Diego Costa because I was like, oh, this guy, he's just cheating, whatever. Like, I can't stand him. And then we signed him that summer. And then he's the type of player that you hate to play against, but you absolutely love to have on your team because of his antics. He's just so funny, and how he like get up in your face and everything. The Football Terrace says, great show, ladies. Kendall killing it, and looking forward to have Elizabeth on tomorrow at 5 p.m. UK time. Don't miss that, you guys. Going to be very good. Are you on that? You're like moderator on that too, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm on the terrace. I present on the terrace and appear on pretty much nearly every show that that they can get me on. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, there's like so many comments. I'm just trying to read through this. I didn't see Atletico coming. Andrew says, I don't see Atletico coming back. Chelsea have more desire early to win this game. I don't know about that. Like, I wouldn't be so Sure, I don't know. I feel like Atletico really have a great side, and that they have a really strong team, and they've been playing together for a long time. Chelsea, we've seen, have been a little bit chopped and changed, have had a lot of managers as well. And for me, Chelsea just lacking that clinical touch in the final third. Like we're not able to string together those passes. So unless we could keep this like a 0-0, I don't know. I'm not feeling. I'm never like super confident, but against Atletico, I would not rule out anything. Honestly, I really wouldn't. Shout out to you, Kendall. You really have been so brilliant. So,
Thank you.
Everybody's like talking about it in the comments. Oh my god, there's too many to go through, guys. I don't know how people like do this.
It's horrible
like,
as well when you
supernaturally.
it goes
I
to
really
the bottom
don't.
and it goes to the bottom of the comments.
Yeah,
and
where was I?
Oh, it's so annoying.
Where was I? Robbie asked Ellie, would you ever do a watch along? I might, but I stream. Like I use a stream, and usually I'm like 30 seconds behind. So it's I did one once on somebody else's channel, and it was like really hard because everybody was telling me the things that were happening like before I saw it happen. So it was like, oh, this is a build-up play, and it's a shot. Oh no, but it's saved. It's like, okay, like this blows. So I don't know if I would do it unless I can like absolutely make sure that that wouldn't get ruined, honestly. So Tyrone goes punch Burner in the face and see him score because he like was that it was like some game, I think, oh maybe Newcastle, that he got punched or something. Oh, you're a Newcastle fan, right? So that Timo Werner got punched or something.
I always call us Charity FC because we literally give like goals and points to teams that need them at like at any one time. Like Sheffield United, we're just like, yeah, you can have 3 points. Like Werner, you can have a goal because you haven't had one for a while. Like we just literally hadn't. Honestly, it's like just gifted. Like we just hand out goals and points to teams that need them.
Yeah, a lot of Chelsea fans will say that as well because like Southampton were on a really bad run. They didn't win in like 6 games, and then they drew against us, and then they continued to lose. Arsenal as well. They won like 1 in 10 games, and the one was against Chelsea. We already covered this, but Blessing Al said, you live in Spain. How do you become a diehard Atletico fan?
Well, just a quick story. When I was 9, I was on holiday with my family, and whenever my granddad is like such a football fan, like he just loves football in general. So whenever we used to go on holiday as kids, like he would always take me and my brother to like a local game. So I've been to like see, Tenerife and Alicante and things like that. So when I was on when we were younger, we were passing by and we just saw Barcelona reserves against, well, at the time it was obviously Atletico, and Torres was coming back from injury at the time, and he was, captain at the time of the team. So we went and watched it. Well, I saw it when I was on holiday, and I fell in love with Torres. I was like, oh, I'm marrying that man when I'm older. Like I was like 9 years old. I was like, I'm gonna marry him when I'm old. My granddad's like, no, you're not. Just be quiet. So yeah, followed him ever since. Followed Atleti ever since, and that was 2004. And then obviously 2007 he came to Liverpool. So my granddad was like, oh, you must have like an eye for a great striker. Like you must know what you're talking about. So yeah, followed his career from that 2004 onwards beyond Atletico, and followed them as well. So I mean, I'm 26 now, so yeah, followed them for like 17 years.
Oh my
on
God.
top of, I mean, I follow them. I wouldn't say I support them in a sense, because I mean, I don't go to the games. I don't get there because I live in the UK, so don't get to go to the games a lot. I've not been to the Wanda yet, but yeah, that's my life story. And obviously supported Newcastle all my life. Wouldn't be allowed to support anyone else, really. It's just unfortunate that Atletico play in red and white, which is the rivalry, the Sunderland rivalry with Newcastle. So I always get wrong for wearing red and white.
That's so funny. I'm 26 too, so it's nice to meet somebody who's like a little older. I feel like a grandma on Twitter sometimes.
Oh, honestly, same. I used to think like everyone was so much older than me, and then when I started the YouTube scene, everyone was like 2019. I was like, I'm so old. I'm so old now.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, Kendall, thank you so much for coming on. Honestly, it has been such a dream. It's been so much fun chatting with you for almost 40 minutes. It's honestly,
I know, it's gone so quick. Thank you for having me, genuinely.
Well, let everybody know where they can find you and follow you.
Yeah, so just Kendall Rowan on all socials, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. I also, as I mentioned earlier, host on the terrace, on the football terrace, which is the football terrace on YouTube, and all socials. You'll find them there. And you'll probably just see me talking about Atletico for the next two days, probably, which is a nice change from Newcastle because they're a little bit more successful. So nice to be able to talk about Atletico for once.
Yeah, I hope they're not tomorrow, but my niece and nephew will also be very upset if they don't go through. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Honestly, if you like this video, make sure to drop it a like. It helps us out a lot. Subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Kendall's channel as well. I've put the link to your Twitter, and she has a link tree in there with all of her socials, so you can find everything in there. And yeah, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this stream, and until next time, I'm out.